Hey guys, it's Caitlin. Welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell by the title, this is a friends choose my TBR vlog kind of thing. I do have 2 shelves and I'm ashamed to say that probably more than 50% of them are actually unread, but there are so many of them that I'm dying to read. And so what I did was I took a photo of my shelves. I asked my friends to pick a number between I think 1 and 13, which is like the number of shelves that I have. And then based on the shelf that they picked, it was a number between 1 and something, depending on how many unread books I had on that shelf that I was willing to read for this video. And I asked them to pick one, and they picked a book for me. The first book I'm going to be reading is one that my beautiful friend Carissa picked out for me, and that is Forks by Nadine Brands. I picked this book up from the Salvos maybe 2 years ago, and I still haven't gotten around to reading it. So this was released in 2018. Nadine Brands also has another novel out that I'm aware of called Romanov, which I've also borrowed from the library before, had it for like 3 months and then returned it because I just never got around to reading it. Forks is based on the gunpowder plot that took place in 1605, but make it fantasy. So essentially you have these 2 different groups of magical people, I'm guessing, called the Keepers and the Igniters, and there's something going around called the Stone Plague, and there is no cure that they know of just yet, and if you don't get cured of it, you turn into a statue. Like, it literally turns you to stone. So our main character is a keeper. He has the Stone Plague. It's currently in his eye. If he doesn't cure it, it will turn him to stone. His father, who is Guy Fawkes, has this plan to start the gunpowder plot, which is to blow up the King of England, who just so happens to be an igniter of their enemy, believing that that will put an end to the Stone Plague. So I'm pretty sure there are going to be so many like maybe accurate things about the past in here, but there are also going to be so many like fantastical aspects of it as well, and I cannot wait to dive into it. There is also a little bit of romance in here by the sounds of things, so it sounds like committing the gunpowder plot will also destroy the family of the girl that he loves. One way or the other, he is going to lose something. I actually can't wait. Like, it's been so long since I've been this excited to read a YA book. I've been reading romances for at least the past year without much of a break. Can we just talk about the cover on this one, please? It is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to sit down and get started on this one, and I'll update you guys shortly. All right, little update for you guys. I'm currently on page 67, so chapter 8 of Forks, and I'm kind of loving it so far. It's actually really intriguing. I'm enjoying the story so far, and the magic aspect of the world is starting to make a lot more sense. So in the beginning, I had no idea what like the Igniters and the Keepers were, but pretty much in this world they have this thing called color magic. I think it might be up until your 16th birthday you're maskless, but on the day of your 16th birthday, if you're a girl, your mother makes you a mask. If you're a boy, your father makes you a mask, and on your color test you put on that mask and you bond with a color, and then you have a magic that corresponds to that color. So like if you're brown, you can command objects that are brown and that kind of thing. So that's the understanding that I have of it at the moment. But pretty much the difference between Keepers and Igniters is that the Keepers believe that humans should only have control over one color, whereas the Igniters are more believers that you should have control over every color. So the Keepers are seeing the Igniters as being very greedy, and the Igniters just hate the Keepers. Anyway, I'm really liking our main character so far, Thomas. He is a very fun character to read from. You know, he's rather stubborn, he's very strong. I am kind of loving his perspective. Very excited to see where we go from here. I know that there is a hint of romance, and we have read about the love interest, and I'm kind of interested to see, you know, how we get there, because the introduction that we get doesn't quite correspond to the blurb, so I'm like intrigued to see how we get from point A to point B, but I'll keep you guys updated. Good evening. It is about to be morning. It is almost midnight on the 28th of January. I don't know how I'm still functioning. I've been up since 5:30 in the morning. I worked 2 shifts today. I am kind of exhausted, but I also feel like I'm past the point of being tired that I'm awake. But I did just want to update you guys on Forks. So I just finished it, and oh my gosh, it was definitely not what I was expecting, but at the same time I'm kind of in love with it. I don't want to go into too much detail at the moment. I kind of want to sleep on it and then, you know, like gather my thoughts in the morning. In the mind of someone who just finished the book, I think it was utterly fascinating, the fact that, you know, Nadine Brands has taken an accurate historical event and kept so many of the details, you know, like true to history, and yet has added so many fantastical aspects that, you know, like it brings the story to life. Like, it's amazing. If you do own the book, I'm sure you might have read the little author's note in the back that discusses, you know, what's true and what was a little bit stretched for the story. The fact that all of the main plotters featured in this book are the actual names and, you know, roles of the plotters in the gunpowder plot. Their deaths are as accurate as could possibly be. Thomas, who is our main character, is mentioned in history, but there isn't too much information about him, so I think he is one of the more stretched characters, as is Emma. She was a completely made-up character just for the purpose of the story. But yeah, there were just so many accurate things, and I found it so intriguing how she managed to, you know, turn it into a fantasy. I do love the world of the color power. I think it's so fascinating, and I think what I really loved when reading the author's note is that she talks about how, you know, since Thomas and Emma are kind of these created characters, they're a way to view history. And so we see this massive character arc from Thomas. He goes kind of from being all about like me, like I have the plague, I want my mask, I want color power, I want to bond with Grey so I can like command and be strong and powerful or whatever, to really listening to himself and others and finding, you know, the truth in everything, and really wanting to know like what his purpose is, and listening to the world around him and becoming more understanding. And I feel like because he is a created character, he is able to do that, if that makes sense. There is a line that Nadine Brands did write in the author's note that I feel like kind of really accurately represents what I'm trying to say. Nadine is saying that every story has multiple sides to it, and she says Thomas's story is one of exploring, of seeking, of examining and digging for truth. His and Emma's story is one of listening. Much healing can be found through the commitment to listen and the willingness to talk the hard talks and dig for the truth. I just thought that that was very interesting. If anything, I think the thing that I was mainly disappointed by was, you know, the climax of everything, like the resolution. I feel like we spent so long building up to this plot, and then there was all the tension in the lead up to it, and then everything just kind of happened. And in the moment I was like, oh yeah, okay, like this is what's happening, cool. And then we got to like essentially the conclusion, like the epilogue of the story. And I'm like, hold up, that was it? Like, I actually had to flick back through the pages and I was like, wait, that was the big scene. That was it. Little bit anticlimactic. That is book 1 of Friends Pick My TBR. Very good start to this reading vlog. The next book that we are choosing was actually chosen by Jordan. Went through the exact same process. The book that Jordan picked was Illuminae by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. If you've been watching my videos for a while, I actually won this book in an Allen & Unwin giveaway several years ago, and I never picked it up. I think it's mainly because it's like sci-fi, and sci-fi really isn't my favorite genre. It's something that I stay away from. I'm really not one to reach for a sci-fi novel. If anything, like, I'll go for romance or fantasy. So I'm a little bit iffy going into this, but I've heard so many good things about it. I've seen so many 5-star reviews. Like, I'm excited for this book, but I'm also wary of delving into this just because I want to enjoy it. I'm just wary that my aversion to sci-fi will affect my enjoyment of the story. I'm really hoping it doesn't. I don't want to let it affect how much I enjoy this, but we'll see. Why, hello there. I figured I'd better update this vlog because it's been a hot minute since I spoke to you guys. It's now the 5th of February and I started reading the next book in this vlog, Illuminae, 2 days ago, and we're already about this far through. You can't even see the bookmark. I am currently 408 pages in out of 599. Holy crap. I'm really sorry for the camera work. It is 1:45 in the morning. I did not realize what time it was until I picked up this camera to vlog, because I was like, oh, I should probably say something, because you know, I wasn't even at 200 pages before I picked up this book. Oh boy, here we go. I'm honestly really enjoying this so far. It is not what I was expecting at all. I was just expecting, you know, like a written story, but that is not what we have. It's almost like we're reading it after the fact. You're reading it through emails, journal entries, recorded conversations, like all that kind of stuff. It did take a little bit of getting used to. I was very confused in the beginning, but I am so intrigued at the moment. I am finding it absolutely impossible to put this book down, which is something that I was not expecting, because it's sci-fi, and we all know how I feel about sci-fi because I've mentioned it so many times in this vlog. The feels are all over the place in this. Like, I mean, I was gonna say it started out tame. It didn't really. I mean, a planet got invaded and thousands of people died in like the first 5 pages. It just gets progressively worse from there. Not the writing, the book is fantastic, but like their situation just keeps going downhill. We have yet to go uphill, and I'm like, are we gonna get any good news at any point here? I'm very worried. I have laughed a lot. I have cried a little bit, and I'm really tired, and I kind of want to go to bed. I have to be up early in the morning, but I can't put the book down yet.
A few moments later.
That's not cool, man. Oh my goodness. I don't know how you expect me to try and go to sleep now when you just dealt me that load of crap. I'm really hoping this is going to turn around soon. I do not think I can take any more grief. It has been such a long time since I've made an update on this series. It's currently the 26th of March. I don't actually know when the last day was that I updated this vlog, but we're finally resuming our progress. So the last book that I read was Illuminate, and I cannot leave a series unfinished. So before I delve into the next series that was picked out for me, I am going to be continuing on with Gemini. I wasn't going to vlog the progress too much, but I think I will, because like, Jordan chose Illuminate, and this is part of the Illuminate series, so I guess I should keep you guys updated. Hey, Mocha. What you doing? Okay, so I'm only like 13 pages into Gemini so far, but I must just say I really have missed this writing style. Like, Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman just nail it consistently. Like, I feel like I'm just constantly like giggling in my head when I read certain things. If you've read Illuminate, I'm sure you know that, you know, each little document that they have has a briefing note as to its exact relevance to the story. And this particular briefing note is happening between 2 of the characters in the book. And it says, for full effect, read everything Merrick says in a loin-stirringly deep upper crust accent while listening to smooth jazz. I have a friend. That might not seem as funny out of context, but I thought it was funny. I'm really hoping my camera doesn't just topple off my bed right now. Alright, it's been a little while since I've updated you guys on what I'm reading, because I'm filming a reading vlog at the same time that I'm filming this video, and so it's like I'm talking about the book in my reading vlog, and then I don't want to repeat myself. So pretty much I have finished Gemini. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because I absolutely loved it. So good. If you want a little bit more in depth, I think I have a review up on Goodreads, and I'll also link this current reading vlog that I'm filming at the same time as this down below. I'm now up to Obsidio. I am, how many pages in am I? I am 424 pages in, so not too far to go. Okay, so if you've read Obsidio or if you read any of the Illuminae books, you kind of have an idea of what's going on. And in this book, we are reading kind of from two separate point of views. So we're reading one set of point of views from planet side and the other point of views from up in space. And we just wrapped up a planet side chapter. And now we're back in space. I don't want to be back in space. I want to be black planet side. The tea. I'm like, this could be just like a massive shitstorm and everything's gonna go wrong, or maybe it's all part of a grand plan and the authors are just trying to like stew us up right now. But either way, I'm stewed up no matter the end point. Let's keep reading here. I have less than 200 pages left until the end of this book and I am finishing it today. We are at about page 500. I have 120 pages left. What? This is flying by. I am not ready for this to be over, but at the same time my heart is pounding because I just want to know where this story is going to go. I need to know who lives, I need to know who dies, I need closure. That is what I need. The main thing that I jumped on here to say is that this story definitely has its heroes and its villains, but sometimes it's hard to remember, and I love the fact that it's Aiden who points it out, the artificial intelligence. They're all still human. Even the villains, the enemies of this story, they are just soldiers doing their job. They're following their commander, they're doing what they're told. And so sometimes it's hard to remember the fact that they're still human. They still have families that they themselves are trying to protect by committing these crimes. And so I always just like feel it hit that little bit more when, yes, a hero may die, but then the villain dies as well, and it goes into a little bit more detail about how, you know, like their family's left behind. They have a wife and child or a husband or someone back home waiting for them. I feel like I'm getting oddly sentimental. Like, but does anyone else ever feel like that? Like you read this book and you're like, damn, like I hate your guts, but at the same time, I still kind of feel bad for you. We have about 60 pages left in this book, and if what I think happened just actually happened, I am going to start sobbing, probably hysterically. Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness, just in case you're wondering, pink tabs mean I'm feeling too much right now. If I could slather this whole page in pink tabs, I would do it. Alright, update time, because it has been way too long since I've updated you guys on my reading progress, but the first thing that I do want to say is that if you notice anything a little bit different about the way that I'm speaking, I actually got my Invisalign yesterday, so I have a little bit of a lisp at times, so just ignore that. The next book that I was meant to read for this challenge was To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han, and I finished it. And I forgot to vlog any of it. I am a great YouTuber. Absolutely. I was going to film it, but I started reading this book at maybe 9 o'clock at night, and I was like, you know what, I'll just read a couple of chapters, I'll pick up the camera tomorrow and talk about it. And then I ended up reading about half the book, put the camera down, went to work the next day and just did not have time to vlog. And then I finished it this morning. So, cool, great. I must say though, I think this may be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but I just wasn't a fan of this book at all, really. I do not understand the hype. I just couldn't quite connect with the characters. I felt like the way that the chapters were set up as well was just very, like, choppy. That's what that was meant to be. It was like the chapters were only maybe like 3, 4, 5 pages each. And then you'd kind of move on to the next thing in the book, and I just didn't quite like the way that that progressed. But I must say I also did feel at times that like the writing style just seemed a bit young, and I don't know if that's just Jenny Han's writing because this is the first book that I've ever read of hers, or if that's just the way that she wrote Lara Jean's perspective to sound like. But I just found myself either cringing or just getting a little bit annoyed at the writing style every now and then. I really don't know why, but it's just this book just didn't really do it for me. And I know that I went into this reading vlog with the intention of reading, if I got a series, I would read the whole series. Ideally, I would read this and then books 2 and 3, but I really just don't want to. I have zero desire to finish this series. I feel like I could just watch the movies and call it a day because I just don't really care. I don't really want to know what happens. There we go. moving on. Okay, I have 2 more friends to choose my next reads, and one of them has already been chosen. This book was picked by Gabe, and that is Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen McManus. I have read One of Us is Lying, and that is the only book that I've read by this author, but I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars, so I'm very keen to get into this book. I've only read the blurb once, and that was about 5 minutes before I started filming this clip. All I really know is that there is this town where women, particularly homecoming queens, are getting murdered and winding up dead, and our main character just moved there to live with a grandmother that she doesn't really know all that well, and apparently the killer is back. So I'm so keen. Like, if One of Us is Lying is anything to go by, I'm really hoping that I will enjoy this book as well. So definitely we'll be getting into this very soon.